Participate in a conversation with once conservative, now liberal Midwest mastered prepared special education high school teacher and a self-proclaimed devil's advocate, East Coast conservative liberal, baccalaureate prepared registered nurse. These two strangers met, became instant friends, and realized their conversations are candid and epic. So join us weekly, ask us questions, and listen to these profoundly candid friends try to solve the world's problems, one discussion at a time.
Hey, welcome to another excellent episode of The New Theory with Monet and Jared, aka TNT with MJ. I am Jared.
I'm Monet.
And together we are Teaching Minds
and Nurturing Souls. And
Monet, it has been a minute since we've seen each other.
Yes.
And love our conversations, love being able to get to face with you. We've been talking off camera, folks, that there's going to be time in the very near future that we're going to be able to do this face to face, and actually we're all going to be on the same camera. How cool would that be?
That would be amazing.
That would be amazing. I'm looking forward to that.
Me too.
Be that as it may, Monet, catch us up, and then I guess I'll do my catch up, and then we'll jump into it.
It's just the introduction into the truth. Like, I mean, we haven't seen each other in a while, but we have, because we have careers. Jared, the teacher, Monet, the nurse. He's starting back to school. This is his first full week back. I started another new job. Go figure. That's the life of a nurse. But I found the right one. I feel like this job is a committed relationship, like in a relationship I actually really want to be in. And because
it's not a floating one, it's a stable, like you're at the same spot day in, day out.
Every week.
Yep.
No floating.
Right. That's awesome.
I'm a member of the team. I'm a member of a community. I know. It feels amazing to finally say, this is my home. I mean, I can honestly, my goal, my dream is to, if I go and get an advanced degree, then that's another story for another day. But right now, this is the hospital I want to be in. They have, besides it being racially mixed, I find a kindred spirit with management. There's like, we're all in this together, and it's not just me against you. It's us. They're supporting each other. They uphold education. They are for patient advocacy. Patients really do say, hey, look, I don't want to do this. And they're like, okay, and don't take it personally. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And that's hard to find. That's awesome, though. Even when you're, founded with, supported with a lot of education behind you. It's like, but remember, these are individuals, these are humans, and we're going to do. And then it's like you can see the team from the doctors, nurses, and all the other ancillary teams working to say, well, this is what they want. So let's see if we can get them home. Let's see if we can get them this. We don't know if it's palliative care. Maybe it's just more education, whatever. So I like this. I like this hospital. And the department I'm in, it's called RE2. It's like a holding area in the ER for patients that aren't quite sick enough to go upstairs, but need just a little bit more education and monitoring. Okay. So I'm still a part of the ED team. I get to work in the ED on occasion and literally get the patients as soon as they're made the decision whether or not they're going to go upstairs or, leave or stay down in the ED for further observation. So I like that adrenaline. I like that ability to be able to help with those really quick decisions making. But you're back at school. And when we talked earlier, I was like, really? Like, I felt like I was in school.
Yeah. No, we're back this second day of first full week. Students back next week. And in fact, our school board is either just wrapping up, has wrapped up, or still in session as far as a mask mandate. We've had a couple of schools in the area, their school boards unanimously voting to enact a mask mandate for teachers and students, despite what? Okay. Yeah.
I got a question.
You got a question? I thought you were going to
raising my hand.
High five. I don't know what's going on. I don't know.
No. Wait. So
but that's despite the fact that our legislature back in May, I think it was, or June, passed a law that said, no, it was a, I love the irony, it is a ban on a mandate. Anyway, so that's what happened. And, but in my opinion, thankfully, a Central Arkansas judge issued, kind of barred that pending lawsuits that are in place. What? And so in the meantime, school districts are kind of taking advantage of that and saying, since it's being disputed in the courts, we can do this, until a decision is completely made. We're going to do what we're going to do to protect our kids.
And so that's how I see it. Yes,
that's how I see it. Yeah,
masks.
Exactly.
Beautiful.
Exactly. And
Beautiful.
Yes, for the adults to help protect those kids who were more vulnerable than the vaccinated.
Exactly. What's the percentage?
And there's no telling who's all vaccinated. But
that's what I'm saying. What's the percentage of teachers in your school that are vaccinated? Do they know? Do you all know?
I have no clue. I'm not even going to begin to speculate.
Because I know you're vaccinated.
Oh yeah. No, I proudly broadcast that on Facebook.
Yes, you broadcasted it. We talked about it. We had a small scrimmage about it.
We did. Yeah.
We're kind of transitioning from Jared's back to school and him being a full-time teacher to the discussion we had earlier with regards to my antiquated ideology with regards to being not trusting the vaccine. Yes, I'm a nurse. That doesn't necessarily mean I'm all knowing and all encompassing. And I mean, I'm intelligent enough and I'm intelligent enough to say, hey, look, I made a mistake. I never dissuaded people from getting the vaccine. I actually encouraged them, but I personally, I kept my personal feelings to myself. I was one that was just like, I don't trust it. Give it some more time. This is just science. Like, I mean, like anything that you do, you give it time. You just, like here's a deadly virus that's killing people. And then all of a sudden we have this quote unquote answer. We don't know what it's going to do to people. Can we just give it more time? And everybody's like, science is saying, all these really intelligent people are saying, hey, no, it's working. Even I still held out. Like I told Jared earlier, I was just like, oh, I got my first vaccine, my first dose yesterday. So yay, I did. Look, am I a dirty woman for still having my Band-Aid on? I've been in the house. All right, leave me alone. Anyway, yard work, My point is, I had to get COVID in order to see the benefits of what this vaccine does. I got COVID back in the beginning of May. Okay. That's why I had to wait 3 months in order to get my first dose. In the meantime, when I got it, within the 10-day window, I was afforded the opportunity to get the monoclonal antibodies, or I would have to have had to fight it myself. Day 6 of being sick, and I can tell you, between having it felt like when your nose burns and you want to sneeze, but I had this continuous burning with no sneezing associated with it.
Oy.
Yeah, the malaise, the fatigue associated with it. I had no fever, had no cough. I just had extreme fatigue. I was really tired, but I figured because I work in the ER and I'm busting 17,000 steps a day, or my average is 14. I'm like, maybe it's because I'm working so hard and I'm standing so much. And maybe it's because, I'm not really that hungry. I had no appetite. And to add insult to injury, I knew something on day 3 was kind of awry when I couldn't smell anything in the ED. Somebody had a huge code brown. Huge, apparently.
Snap. Yeah.
And people, nurses are like, nurses are like, oh, that stinks. But when they're like, God damn, shit like that.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, it must be bad.
I was a CNA. I know. Yeah.
Jared,
it's not pleasant. Not pleasant changing colostomy bags. I'm just saying.
No. And when I tell
that's some
you,
like I don't want to hurt you. Nah.
and then bah, staring. I couldn't smell it. I knew on day 3 something wasn't right. And this was day 2 out of 3 days in a row of a work day. So the next day I had this, and I hate to say this, but I had this homeless lady I had to put a Foley in. You know, her and bathwater hadn't been friends for a couple of days. I had the CNAs helping me hold her legs open, and they're like, oh. And I'm like, this is bad. They were like, how is your face down there? And I can't tell them, like, I can't smell anything.
That's so.
I don't know what I can't smell nothing. Like, I had a mask on, but I'm like, this shit is
wow.
You know, I felt. So that's when I told my supervisor, they were like, well, now you should go get checked. Go leave. And I was like, now let me finish the shift. Bad nurse, should have left. Because I could have infected other people. Wind up going to Rapid Care. They were like, it lit up quick, honey. Yeah, you're COVID. Then in Pennsylvania, they immediately set me up with this outside organization that is giving like these IV not antibiotics, but antiviral medication via like IV instantly, and it fuses within an hour. I stayed adequately hydrated. I slept for almost every day. I just rested. I have, since having COVID, I've been quite sensitive to dehydration. So thankfully, if I feel my pulse accelerating, which I have a standard of 4 to 6 water bottles a day, or the equivalent of at least, 96 to 120 ounces of water, not even fluid, just water. Like I don't count like tea or anything like that. I just went straight clear water. And then the color of my urine, that has a lot to do with it. So I'm still looking for I'm still looking for the lasting effects.
It's real. I'm just saying.
Like, it's true. It's real.
You want to know if you're truly hydrated.
It'll come out looking like tea. It's not a win.
Yeah, no. Yeah.
Not a win.
It's not a good day.
No. So the discussion we had earlier between me and Jared was like, what happened, brother?
I think you were getting into Florida, and
we were going to talk about Florida. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, let's talk about Florida. Because
you're about to say something about it.
No, yeah, because I was just like, it's now. Oh, the whole point of telling about the monoclonal was that on day 6, I could feel my lungs tightening, and taking care of these patients with COVID, they would be fine. It's just like, I'm just really tired, and I got a little fever. But then they'd be like, I feel like my lungs are tightening. And then they would be intubated. Like they would go from literally hour 2 to hour 20 from breathing fine to satting in the 80s. And so, real shit. And I was like, out of nowhere, I could feel my lungs just like I can't take a full breath. So I'm like.
It occurred to me, just a second. It occurred to me for the layman in the audience, for those that don't understand, sat 80. Talking about oxygen saturation in the lungs, and at 80%, not a good time. So
no, you need to be in the 90s.
Sat 80. Yeah. All right.
Sorry about that. So with that being
that's the teacher me, just saying. Yeah.
That's right. You got to make sure everybody understands. And so when an hour after I got the monoclonal antibodies, I could actually feel myself being able to take a full breath. Literally on my right side and my lower part, like under my in my chest, I was like, and I felt like I was like, I'm really working hard at this, but I don't feel like full satisfaction for inhalation. And I'm like, I don't have a history of asthma, emphysema, any of that. So I'm like, oh shit. And now, then with the monoclonal, I felt like, and then I have a watch that does my pulse that tells me how much my oxygen saturation is, how much oxygen is in my blood. And even that was like languishing around 94, 96. But when I got, which is not bad, but for somebody that's always sitting at 99 or 100, that was like, I shouldn't have, well 92,
I get what you're saying.
96.
I get what you're saying, but I'm like, me as an asthmatic, I'm like, okay, it's been a rough day.
Yeah, right. I'm done with you. But for me, it's like, no, I knew something was wrong. So I've since, have changed my ways. I'm more vocal about everyone getting the antibiotic. Why did I have to wait 3 months? Because I already had the antibodies, the defense system in me. They just wanted to make sure, because it was such a bam to the system, a shock to the system, They needed to kind of dissipate a little bit. And then, you know, I mean, I had the pharmacist tell me when I got that shot, he was like, well, you shouldn't even need it because you have, and I was like, well, science is showing that it only stays in your system for 3 days. I mean, 3 months. Okay, it's only a defense mechanism for 3 months. That's the average now because they've been taking people are volunteering all over the country saying, here's my blood, check me. So sorry, Lazarus is back, y'all.
Yeah.
But again, so with that being said, right. We were talking about the discussion we had earlier with regards to the non-vaxxers and the vaccinated. And Jarrett was like in the beginning, because I was like, I don't know if it really makes a difference. And Jarrett was like, Monet, you should know better. Cut it out. Conservative Republican in me that's like, maybe. No, there's no maybe. And I'm like, yeah, I know. I'm just saying. And he's like, no, don't just say, just know. He's like, 80%.
It's been a long struggle, y'all. It's been a long struggle.
Let them know, Jared. Let them know. What did you say about 80% of who's in the hospital?
Oh my goodness. Like this was about a week or two ago that the last stat I heard or read or was reported was about 80% of all hospitalizations across the nation are of unvaccinated people. Now, here in Arkansas, it was reported yesterday that there are only 8 ICU beds across the state available. 8 across the state. So you want to talk about overwhelming the hospital system, you know, then here in Northwest Arkansas, I don't know if this is true statewide, but I think here in Arkansas, it's about 100% of deaths are of unvaccinated people. So when they say this is a pandemic of the unvaccinated at this point, because we've had the vaccine for what? 3 months at least? Oh, well, even longer. Okay, yeah. No, it's been since what? January,
February. February, March.
I remember getting my first one in March and then my second one in April. Yeah, you're right. And I forgot it's been that long. See, this is what happens when you're in a pandemic and you're spending a lot of time at home. Every day becomes kind of, it's a blur day. What day is today? Is it Monday or Tuesday? It's blur day. I don't know. So now I got to get back into the routine of, got it. 8 months ago. Yeah, it's been a while. Yeah.
It's been a while, so it's enough. And it's free. It's free.
Exactly.
Just go. Show your ID and go get it.
I mean, they're talking about people getting a 3rd shot. So that tells you that there's ample supply of this vaccine.
Ample.
You know, and let's be real. If you go back into the reports, not only has a nurse presented this in a professional development type setting, I've read it myself not to say that I researched it myself, I've read it myself. So let's be real. Research, you know, taking notes and annotating and all this other stuff and just, you know, providing your resources, all that kind of BS. Anyway, so across different platforms, that being said, the vaccine that we are seeing now is either a product or a byproduct, because I can't speak for the Johnson & Johnson, the Moderna vaccine, Pfizer, and what's the other one in Europe?
I don't know the one in Europe, but it is different.
Yeah, it starts with an A.
It's affiliated with Pfizer.
Yeah, that came out
they're
first.
Like similar companies.
And that one came out first, if I remember correctly. And then you got Pfizer and Moderna, and they came out at the same time. The vaccine has been worked on for at least a year prior to that. Now I realize that it's talking 10 years now. Correct. SARS. I'm remembering SARS because that's a strain, like the flu, the bird flu, the mad cow disease, all these other
swine
coronavirus derivatives. They've been working on this whole generic vaccine of the coronavirus for
a long time,
at least 8 years. It's been a long time
since Ebola. Mm-hmm.
And so since they took
and
that
flu.
and were able to, anyway, all that to be said, they've been working on it for a long time. And so
And they're still working on it because,
they
they're
still
saying
are.
that there's a mutation in the virus. It's presenting more like what I experienced, the burning in the nose, the sneezing, not so much a fever, but a languishing cough.
Now let's bear in mind that this was what, back in May, so it's been a few months. So
3 months. 3 months to be exact.
I don't think I don't think the Delta variant was around at that point. Not to say that I want to put an emphasis on the Delta variant, but all that to be said.
It could quite have possibly been, but because we don't know, Jared. The fact of the matter is, what I'm hearing, I had those symptoms. The symptoms that they're saying is presenting as the Delta variant, but I didn't have the cough and I didn't have the fever. So I mean, it varies. But can I even say, even in my practice,
but you had lung issues, right?
Towards almost a week into having it, I started feeling like I was still sitting well enough to not be considered to be compromised pulmonary, but I felt it, something that can't be quantified. I had to tell them, like, it feels tight, and they're like, okay, but like, that's a patient telling me, like, my chest feels bad, and I put the pulse ox on their finger and I see 95, 96, and I'm like, but you're fine. And they're like, no, something. So now having it happen to me, you're an asthmatic,
So here's the words that I use.
What? What's that?
I feel like I have an elephant sitting on my chest.
Yes. Now that
I feel like I've got a clamp on my lungs.
Yes. Even though you're sad.
That gives a better visual than it's tight.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. I'm just throwing that out there.
It's all subjective to whatever the patient.
You're correct. Yeah. You're absolutely right.
I mean, but I'm not.
To your point earlier, you're not an asthmatic, so you're not.
I don't know.
I guess. Right. I don't know.
But taken care of asthmatics, when they say it feels like an elephant sitting on my chest, I'm like, we need some cardiac enzymes too, because that's very indicative of a heart attack. But with regards to but dealing with just the asthma, like you're coming in for just an asthma, an exacerbation of asthma or inability to breathe, and you say it feels like an elephant sitting on my chest.
Let's not sugarcoat it. There have been times where I've gone to the ER and I cannot breathe out.
Wow.
All I can do is take in. I cannot breathe out. There's been times where I've dealt with that. So I'm all that to say, I'm just kind of giving you a bigger picture of asthma.
Scary.
Anyway, it's not. When asthmatics come at you and they say my chest is tight, or it feels like an elephant's on my chest,
it's real.
No, that's real.
Yeah,
that's a real feeling. So all I'd say, not to say that you didn't go through that. Please don't misunderstand.
No, I'm not even paying attention.
But I just want to give you a real picture of what what you're talking about. No, that's not exactly. Yeah. Now there people that may take advantage of the situation to get a steroid shot just to feel better in the moment, I don't know.
I don't get into that, because then what happens is you then start in the professional environment, you then start becoming judgmental of all your patients instead of just taking care. Let's just treat whatever's going on. And this is what I love about the hospital I'm in now, because I'm not saying it doesn't exist. It does, but not like it used. Not where I was coming from. All the places I've worked, bad. Like, just so it's like, just give it to them. Shut up. I'm not saying give them the Dilaudid or the fucking morphine, the bullshit that they're asking for, and they really don't need it. But even then, it's like, here's what you need, okay? And then 9 times out of 10, I'm gonna say 7 to 8 times out of 10, you kind of help them, and they don't ask for it anymore. I literally have watched a patient watch the clock and ask for meds, and it's just like, okay. But those that are like, I'm really in pain, and the doctor just says, I've seen more doctors here say, just give it to them. All right, give it to them. And I give it to them, and they don't ask for it again, because they just needed to knock out whatever that pain was. But that's, but yeah, no. I get it. I understand what you're saying. And back to the COVID, I don't know if it was a variant, well, like I said, it didn't present like any of the patients I ever took care of.
Sure.
I can honestly say, out of the 50 something patients I literally bedside took care of, I because I stopped in May. I stopped taking care of COVID patients in May. So the fever was always prevalent with all of them. Some form of fever, cough, sore throat. And even if the fever was only involved for 8 to 12 hours, it still presented. And for me not to have had a fever, and I kept taking my temperature and everything. Child, it was a mess. You should have saw me at work. Like, hold on.
For those that didn't miss, for those that missed that, she just called me child. Just saying. Yeah.
But so we said all this COVID and medical stuff to say, so Jared, guess what? I'm hearing that Florida, some government official said if Florida was its own country, people would be banned to go there because, it's that bad. It's that their COVID, their non-existent restrictions, their freedom and liberties of whatever is so rampant that people are like, don't go to that country because you'll get COVID.
Wow. Well, first off, my response to you would be kudos to that politician. Yeah, right. To that government official.
Yeah, right.
And secondly, I think that person is in the right when the governor himself of that state. Notice we're not saying names, guys. You can do your own Google search. We're not naming names, so we'll just leave it out. Anyway, all that to be said. Was it this morning that I heard this, or yesterday during the news report, that something to the effect that he will order the state to withhold funds to school employees who mandate masks for their classrooms or the school buildings themselves. Yeah, he'll withhold finances. Yeah. Even to the individual schools or teachers. Yeah.
Yo, if I was a conspiracy theorist, I'd be like, this MF wants, this motherfucker want people to die.
Yeah.
Like real shit.
And I'm gonna say at that point, if anybody's listening, if you're listening to this, our listeners out there, if you're hearing it, and you want to fact check me, by all means, please fact check me, because I'm not entirely sure if that's accurate. But yes, he did say something to the effect of withholding finances to either the school or the district, or even, God forbid, the teacher for mandating masks in the building or classroom.
And so,
he wants. To your point, he apparently wants people to die. He's more concerned about feeding his constituents than he is
but who are these freaking people? We're done. Come on. Again, we're having the same conversation. We all went to kindergarten. We all had to line up. We all had to be told, do this, be kind, raise your hand.
Wear your seatbelt.
Wear your seatbelt. Which had to be turned into a law, a seatbelt, insurance on your home, on your car,
registration, pay taxes,
had to be turned into a law because people are like left to their own devices. They're 5 years old and they're not going to do it. But if you give them like, I wouldn't say blinders, but yes, those guardrails to say live in between these parameters, just for your own benefit. Then you will be fine. Okay. Yeah. I love how, again, I want people to make more and more videos about the seatbelt. More and more videos. Because this guy was like, how dare they? Like, he's being, facetious and sarcastic. And he's like, how dare they sit here and make me, it's rubbing on my neck and I got to put it in here and then you're going to give me a ticket for it. Why? Because not everybody that wears a seatbelt lives. They still can get, but it's like more people statistically have been shown to live by wearing a seatbelt than dying. Just saying.
Yeah.
It's not just the seatbelt, Jared. It's not just the seatbelt. It's everything. Health insurance.
Mm-hmm.
You can't just go to the ER. Is not your personal doctor.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're trying to discourage that. Real emergencies happen. People are like, yo, I feel like my chest is closed. Like an elephant sitting on my chest on one form or the other. Do you feel me? But that's what it's there for. That's what the ED is there for. It's not for, oh, I don't feel like going to the doctor, but I feel like I'm sick enough to go. I mean, I can't. Anyway. So, just taking advantage of a system.
Yeah.
And like you got real medical professionals out here straight up, Jared. It's like, if you didn't get the vaccine by this point, I don't fucking want to take care of you. Real shit.
Yeah.
Because you have all the opportunity in the world to go get it. Because if you come to the fucking hospital sick with the virus and you didn't get the vaccine and you asked for it, go the fuck home.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to say that. I'm going to take care of everyone because I know what it's like to not want to get it. And I understand it. But now, like I said, again, I had to get COVID to understand the importance and significance of the processes they have out here right now for this virus, because I did get the virus. I did get it.
And you're right. But I guess to your point now, I question your motive. I'm going to be real. But that being said, you now can speak to that experience. And now you can relate. You know?
I don't want anybody to get it now.
Yeah.
I don't, thank God I did not succumb. I could have easily succumbed to the virus. God forbid.
God forbid you were in the ICU on a ventilator.
Oh my God, Jared, just don't.
You know what I'm saying?
For stupidity. And me as a bachelor prepared nurse that loves patients and loves science and respect it, how dare I? Like, that's embarrassing. Nah, I'm not easily embarrassed. But I can honestly say that it's not embarrassing, it's disappointing.
I'm thankful, grateful, and glad you survived. Let's put it that way. That you were able to come out on the positive end of that.
But I still have lasting effects. I don't know what my lasting effects are. I'm telling you, to this day, I'm literally drinking water as we talk. I don't drink water that often. Well, I'm drinking Vita water right now because I just was wanting it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But
I mean, it's kind of quasi healthy, you know.
It's not soda. But I can
that's
say
true.
this.
It's limited ingredients. It's hydrating. That's the point. It's hydrating.
Yeah, that's the point. But then it's like making me look at life so much different, so much better. I mean, damn, there's so many people that did get COVID and didn't get an opportunity to say, hey, I'm going to make a change. I think I needed to get it in order to be the beacon, to speak, to say I understand. Because I legitimately understand. Look, I'm telling you, the pharmacist was like, well, if you had COVID, then you don't need the vaccination. And I'm like, shut up. Like, no, I do. Science said, I mean, trust me, I went with my doctors I work with in the ED, the education team at my hospital at Mount Sinai where I work.
Yeah.
And they were like, no, 3 months is the time from the day you got your antibodies from the day you got the monoclonal to now this day where you can get the Pfizer vaccine. So it's been 3 months, and yesterday was the 3rd, the day that it was time for me to get it. So
when's your next
one? I'm thankful. September the 6th.
Nice.
Yeah. Nice. So I'll be done, and I'm double masking. I mask everywhere I go. I mean, people are saying, well, let me tell you something. We don't know how it's manipulating and working. Let's just keep masking up. Let's try to do social distancing. I understand we want the kids to go to school. I understand the importance of socialization at such a young age. However, maybe we get a small cluster of kids that can play with each other on a regular basis, see each other, and those kids only stay around their family. I'm serious. Like, these are real conversations that need to be had. And then, and then those kids go to their prospective homes, and kids like, with parents that are in the essential fields, like medical, all the other essential workers, then, we make sure we're all vaccinated and we also wear masks. so that we don't
Absolutely.
bring anything home to these children.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It
And
has
that's where
to
I'm
take a
at. I mean,
collective
because,
mind.
yeah, I'll be honest with you. I'm not looking forward to getting the shower immediately coming home.
Well,
You
I
know?
did. All
Oh, no, I
last
did
year.
too. All last year. Yeah, me
All
too.
last year.
Me too. As soon as I got through the door, I hit the shower.
I mean, like I had a station.
Except our
when
recording days. I will admit that because I wasn't attached. I was like, hi. And then I came in here.
Yeah.
and recorded. So,
But
and then got my shower. So,
yeah, right. But no, like literally, when I had my apartment in Missouri, I had a changing station right at the front door. Shoes, everything went in the bag, off, like completely God's nature to the bathroom. Everything was already prepped open, so I didn't have to touch anything except the knob. And then I had my disinfectant spray for the knob that I touched. I prepped it every day so that and then there was a steam setting at the laundromat I was using, because I was living in an apartment when I was in Missouri, that I would not only wash but steam, like kill whatever I possibly could on my scrubs. And they didn't touch anything else.
I'm not looking forward to going back to that.
Well, I know
you might be able to adjust I don't know.
Well, the thing is,
that's on you. I'm not going to judge. I'm not going to say
no. I'm working in New York. I'm coming home totally decontaminated, with the exception of just wearing my mask. But my apartment in New York, like literally one shot. I have, even for my scrubs now, there's a red bag that they all go in. Like, as a matter of fact, I'm going back to New York tomorrow, so I have laundry to do, and it's all my scrubs.
Wow.
Yeah. So, but our world, our nation, these people need to be talked to. There's black people.
Yeah, because here's what's aggravating.
Hispanic.
Here's what's really frustrating and aggravating. We don't have to be here. We don't have to be having this conversation.
We shouldn't have to have this conversation.
Yeah, exactly. We shouldn't be having this conversation because it's possible not to have this conversation.
Just get it.
Or it was possible to have this conversation. Yeah, exactly.
Well, people are upset that the government is mandating all federal employees. All hospitals are mandating their workforce. Well,
despite their whatever, just got done reading out of the I think it was the American Association of Teachers or something to that effect. I forgot the group. The email's there. I just forget the group's name. But they provided a Q&A as far as the legalities of mandating vaccines or mandating mask coverings. And bottom line, it's legal. You got nothing to say.
No. It's
because
nothing.
Businesses, man, they develop their own policies, and that's a policy. Whether you want to call it a mandate or not, it's still a policy that you who signed on the signature line agreed to follow. It's that
you voted,
simple.
Whether you didn't vote, you participated in something. You got a driver's license. Anything that you have to do in this country via the government. You got a job, you're paying them taxes. You're saying, okay.
Like it or not, that's what it is.
This is what our nation is doing. And we're doing it for the best interest of others. Period.
And for those who are protesting, it's your fault at this point.
Yes. You guys saying no to the masks. So many people. People are saying, you mean to tell me all I have to do, I've heard it several times, all I have to do is wear a mask and get and stay away from people. Yeah. And that's just the barest minimalist. Now there's a free vaccine that the federal government has already paid for. You just go show your ID and get it.
You see how quickly the numbers dropped as people were getting the vaccine? And then summer rolled around. Yay, everybody's happy. And then now we're back up because guess who didn't get vaccinated?
6 beds in the ICU, you said.
8. But still less than 10.
6
and that
ICU.
was as of yesterday, by the way. That was as of yesterday. 8. I didn't see
Look,
what the report was today. I didn't see what it was today.
In orientation, one of the new nurses was like, "What was it like? What was it like with COVID?" And the nurse was like, "Here in New York, every bed was an ICU bed. Every bed." And so she was like, "So what did you do with the regular patients? If they were regular, they'd go home and deal with it the best way they can." People were talking about people succumbing to death in the waiting area because they just couldn't breathe. People succumbing to death in the ER gurneys, like right in, like getting intubated, like in a non-sterile fashion, which is supposed to be very sterile. I mean, it's pure chaos, war zone. And it was like, really? The onslaught was just ridiculous.
Wow.
So with that being said, oh, here we go.
Yeah. Lazarus. All right. And so on that note, I want to send out a real quick clarification as I'm sitting here thinking about it. I just got done saying that if you're unvaccinated, the reason we're having this conversation is because it's your fault. Let me clarify. Because I know that there's people thinking, well, Monet just got her first shot. It's her fault too. Monet, would you like to clarify that?
I got COVID. And I got the antibodies. So essentially for the past 3 months, I've been vaccinated because I couldn't get it because I had my own antibodies and then I had the artificial ones that were working to protect me this whole time. Science said that within this 3-month time span, it kind of depletes. So go get your first vaccination. So essentially I've got a booster yesterday and then I'm going to get another defense mechanism in 4 weeks. So nice. On September 6th. So
yes.
And I'm fine. I will take the criticism and ridicule, but then you're talking to somebody that is now in the process of the vaccine, that's in the vaccination process. So I'm getting the vaccine. I've gotten the first one.
And you've made it abundantly clear that you are pro-vaccine. It had nothing.
Pro-vaccine.
At first, maybe.
I would never discourage. When we talk,
you didn't discourage it, but for your own personal.
For my own personal, I have, and so this is where, okay, so Jared was like, I'm getting it, that's it, we're not going to talk about it, I'm done. And I'm like, okay, because Jared made up in his mind, this is what I know, science, I've read the research, I'm listening to the medical professionals, I have asthma, I need to protect myself, this is the only thing that's out there, I got to do it, I'm doing it. Doesn't feel like I'm taking a chance, it feels like I'm setting myself up for success.
Exactly.
And I said, yay, we congratulated Jared. Right. He said he finished his vaccine. And that was the end of it. I personally kept my feelings to myself, but I am now speaking out because there's a vast majority of people out here that felt the same way I did. And I can understand, and I identify.
You identify, I can understand to a degree.
Yes, he did. He's very
because
understanding.
You're coming from a whole different perspective.
I mean, being a minority, I'm being honest, and then still having the scientific mind to say.
This is the point.
Yeah, to be like, I don't know what they're doing to us. It could be a lie. I'm not saying that didn't run through my head.
Because it's not that's historically accurate.
And it's true. Period.
And that's the point. So, well, not the point, but it's a point. And so I wanted to give you that opportunity to differentiate you being the quote unquote exception.
No, not an exception. There's a lot in here, and you sit here, and I can understand why people are like, no, I don't trust it. But the reality is, I felt it working in my body. I felt it working, and I can honestly say I'm not fabricating. I'm not saying it because I'm happen to be a medical professional. I actually, like I said, I'm not embarrassed. I'm just disappointed that I didn't trust sooner, or I would have never gotten COVID in the first place. But I think coming from a spiritual perspective, religious, whatever you want to call it.
And we're gonna have to wrap it up. We're about that time.
I know. I feel like God does things for a reason, and I feel like considering we have this platform, it behooved me to sit here and say, I know what you're doing. I know what you're thinking. I know how you feel. Don't eradicate it because it's working. And this is all we got, or it's going to get worse.
Yeah. I mean, And I couldn't have said it any better. We'll add just so
It's
I can
raining.
say, "Hey, Monet, do you want your last word?" You know,
That
I
was
want to be able
it,
to get
pretty
that
much.
opportunity. That was it. No,
That was it. No. Listen, we bring this podcast to hopefully. This is just a small conversation we're having with
Oh, yeah.
ourselves to share with the world, not because we are educated or whatever that shit is, because we're really good, down to earth people. We're good friends. We love each other like siblings, and we want to share this love with the world for real. And this is what this podcast is for us. Is it our personal treasure chest? Yes. Are we trying to keep current with current affairs? Is it something that, God willing, in 20 years we look back and be like, yo, we was hitting everything. We talked about everything. And we literally talked about it. What you would talk about at your dinner table.
Yeah.
Or, sitting outside with your family. These are the discussions we're having. And we love that.
And I'm sure for our wide audience, I'm in jest for levity purposes. I'm just going to, I'm sure our wide audience is thankful that we're not talking about race or racism.
Yes, this is one episode that ironically, race, with the exception of me being Black and not wanting to get the vaccination because I was gonna.
Yeah.
Gotta throw that in there.
Just a little bit. True. Yeah, you're right. You're right. My bad.
No, but still, that it wasn't pro-Black and anti-white, which we never. That's not our objective ever anyway. Period. It's not.
Yeah.
I think it comes
right.
out harsh when we talk about the race situation, because some people need to be shook. They need to be like, wake up, your mindset, the way you've been designed to think, the way you've been thinking. That's really where it comes from. So now we got to wake you up and rethink it. Not so that you're going around hugging all these Black people and becoming friends with them. It's just like, oh, I understand the plight. Now I see it for what it is. We got to fix this.
Absolutely.
Period.
And that actually correlates with what we've been talking about this whole time, and getting and COVID, the vaccination, the masks. That it like just really kind of circles us back around.
All encompassing.
So, yeah, you're talking about intersectionality.
There you go. That's a big word.
And with that,
people.
Monet, I've got to have that last word. You know what I'm looking for, or what we're looking for, what we're hoping for.
Lots of love, compassion, understanding. Please go get vaccinated. Share this with everyone and let them know that we're doing this because of love. Thank you and goodbye.